Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Anna, a clinical psychology doctoral intern, but today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about the discourse around Margot Robbie's looks from more of like a social psychology perspective and why it's been making me really uncomfortable. First, before we get into it, can I just say I've been trying a wavy hair method recently to let my natural wave texture do its thing. And one thing that I cannot get around is how do you sleep in it? It looked great yesterday. I had these ringlets, they were beautiful, and then I slept on it and it squashed it. And I'm just sitting here wondering, is my hair just too fragile that I can't do a wavy hair method? I think it's like a 2B or 2C texture. If you are familiar with wavy hair, please let me know in the comments because I'm really struggling here. Now, my thoughts on the Barbie movie. I thought it was so well done, so creative. Ken's character was so hilarious, and I didn't expect to bawl my eyes out as much as I did. I'm generally not a big fan of companies making a comeback after doing a lot of damage, like Victoria's Secret, for instance. There's nothing that Victoria's Secret could possibly do to change up their marketing that would ever make me support them again, but I don't know, it just felt different with the Barbie movie, and I'm not quite sure why. But while I'm okay with the rebranding of Barbie that's been taking place, I'm not comfortable with the way people have been talking about Barbie's looks, specifically Margot Robbie's looks. So today we're going to be diving into this kind of like as a case example of the really gross ways that people feel entitled to constantly comment on highly beautiful women's appearance. And it's not from like a body neutrality place anymore. I don't really identify with body neutrality anymore. As we'll get to in a moment, I think that if beauty is a value for you, whatever that means to you, that's okay. And as long as you're healthy and you're not hurting other people, do your thing. So it's not from a perspective of like, we should never comment on other people's appearance if we think they look good. As you'll see, the way that people have been talking about Margot Robbie's looks is a little bit different. Actually, it's not a little bit different, it's very different, and it's very offensive. So I think that most people who aren't bitter, like women who aren't very envious of other women because they're insecure, or men who don't hate really beautiful women because they feel like they'll never have them, people that aren't like that, most of them would agree that Margot Robbie is conventionally attractive. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. There's a subjective level to it. You might not think she's your cup of tea particularly, but you can acknowledge she has those traits of what we consider to be conventionally attractive, right? But the discourse around her looks has been so disgusting on all sides. Some people say she's pushing back women's rights just by simply existing as herself. Others are saying she's average appearance to sort of take her down a notch. And I think this phenomenon has really been showing us the pitfalls of pretty privilege, or of women who are very, very pretty. Let's start with this article that I stumbled across. Is casting Margot Robbie as Barbie a regressive move? After body positive and racially diverse dolls that have driven sales and begun to bring Barbie into the 21st century, the world's first live-action Barbie will be a clone of the thin, blonde, and white prototype. Not sure how I feel about calling a live actual human being a clone or a prototype. Despite Mattel's recent efforts to bring the franchise into the modern era with a progressive agenda that includes body and ethnic diversity, the casting choice appears somewhat regressive. So this article goes into a little bit more detail about how Barbie as a franchise has upheld unrealistic beauty standards, and basically so does Margot Robbie. And it kind of seems to be silently implying that we need to have cast someone who's not as much of a mold in the traditional beauty sense, someone who's not thin, white, blonde, and so forth. Which I thought was interesting, considering that Barbie the movie had a lot of ethnic and body size diversity. Of course, this article came out before Barbie the movie did, so maybe the author changed their mind, but why judge a book before you read it, you know? Barbies were depicted in a wide array of what is considered beauty, and these characters didn't feel like token characters to me in the way that other movies often make such characters feel. You know, like America Ferrera's character and her daughter in the movie, they were strong, they had a plot of their own, they had their own character development that was independent of Barbie's. In fact, they were the heroes of both their own stories and Barbie's. But for some reason, articles like these make it seem like it's regressive to to depict conventionally beautiful people at all. I've also heard people in the past say that Margot Robbie needs to step away from such bimbo roles if she doesn't want to be typecast, if she wants to be taken seriously as an actress. And I think that's interesting, considering Margot Robbie has on multiple occasions shown that she has no issue making herself less attractive, so to speak, for a role such as I, Tonya, and she's spoken out pretty vocally about the fact that she doesn't want to be typecast and that there are very limited selections for women in Hollywood who want to portray more full-fleshed characters, but that she very much wants to do that. All this to say, I feel like when we talk about very attractive women, everything else kind of goes out the door. That's all we really see in them is their beauty. Even if they are actually a really talented actress who is doing movies that don't portray her particularly beautifully, people get offended just by her very existence, and she's considered harmful or promoting unrealistic beauty standards. Even though, as far as I can tell, Margot Robbie seems to be not underweight. She doesn't seem like she's had a ton of plastic surgery. People may agree or disagree with that. I personally don't think she has. She just seems like a particularly pretty naturally beautiful actress trying to do her job, just minding her own business. Someone can be multifaceted and multi-talented. They can be beautiful and something else, you know? A lot of the times I think people respond to beauty standards by trying to make it seem like beauty doesn't matter and shouldn't matter at all. So they overcorrect from how society overvalues beauty into, well, we completely need to undervalue it and it has no value, it's superficial, it doesn't bring anything to society. In my opinion, and you know, like I alluded to at the beginning of this video, I don't really abide by body neutrality anymore. I think that there's nothing wrong with wanting to be beautiful in whatever way that means for you. I've actually become more secure with my own reality that I think beauty is important. I think I want to beautify my surroundings. I want to wear pretty makeup. I want my hair to be pretty. I want to wear pretty clothes. If you think that makes me superficial, you're just judging a value that isn't important to you, but we all have different values. And beauty is like anything else in the world. People fall on a spectrum with it. Although, again, like I said, it is very subjective. What you think could be beautiful, a photo of some graffiti on a decaying wall, another person might not, but that's beautiful to you, and that's what matters. When we talk about conventional beauty, like beauty standards, of course, people are going to fall along a spectrum. Some people are going to be very beautiful, some people are going to be not so beautiful, and most people are going to be in the middle. That's where most of us lie. It's just like some people are going to be more funny, more intelligent, more skilled, more hardworking, more rich. All of these are qualities or virtues that people have, and it's easy to feel like we should just throw out the game altogether when we're losing at something. You know, like let's say that you're not a funny person. You might want to say, well, being funny is not important at all. It's stupid. We shouldn't care about being funny. Well, just because you're losing at it doesn't mean it's not important to some people. You're not going to win at every single game. That's perfectly okay. If you're not good at this game of beauty, you're probably good at a different game. You don't have to throw the game out altogether for everyone else. Of course, beauty standards can hurt. But that's no different from any other quality. Intelligence could be used to create a cure for cancer or the atomic bomb. Similarly, beauty can be used to inspire others and give good ambiance to a surrounding, or it could be used to make people feel insecure about themselves and like they can't keep up and like they don't have worth. It's not the virtue itself that is evil, though. Now, I think the fact that we place a disproportionate amount of value on beauty, that does become problematic, because that's where we veer into the halo effect. That's where we veer into people getting jobs or certain promotions just because of the way they look rather than what actually matters in that context. That's no good, obviously. It's okay to beautify yourself and your surroundings in whatever way you see fit, but the moment that takes priority over other things in a context where it doesn't make sense, that's kind of problematic. On the other hand, while we have people depicting Margot Robbie as some hegemonic oppressor because of the way she looks, we also have people trying to take her down a notch because apparently she's not beautiful enough. Such as this tweet from Nicholas Varola saying, "This is her without makeup. Definitely mid." First of all, that's not her without makeup. I can literally spot the eyeshadow, mascara, lipstick, blush, and maybe even brow makeup quite clearly. So maybe this person should stay away from commenting on beauty. Secondly, I want to play part of a TikTok that I saw on this topic that I think perfectly encapsulated what is wrong with this tweet.
Talk about this conversation happening around Margot Robbie right now. Some guy said she was mid online, and this whole thing has gone viral. I'm not even going to get into whether or not she is or is not objectively beautiful. What's more interesting is that this conversation has happened around women in this exact same position for decades. This is the same conversation that happened around Megan Fox, Scarlett Johansson, Olivia Wilde, and the whole thing happens over and over again. There is this teen fantasy to hag pipeline I really want to discuss that has almost nothing to do with age, because Margot Robbie is 33 right now. She looks not a whit different than a decade ago when she was, men's fantasy and Wolf of Wall Street. So what's the difference now? Her perceived position. And this is exactly what happened with all those other women. Why do men love ScarJo when she's dressed up playing Black Widow, but now when she's doing the Marvel interviews, they just can't stand to hear the words coming out of her mouth? It's because your level of attractiveness to men has almost nothing to do with your physical presentation, and much more to do with your perceived position, your perceived vulnerability, etc. So when these women were playing the young ingenues who in these films are being pushed around by men, when there are these young, wide-eyed, doughy creatures who just need the protection of a strong man, like when Olivia Wilde was playing 13 on House, or, Scarlett Jo was earlier in her career, they're just playing these young, wide-eyed girls who need a strong man to protect them and save them. Megan Fox, the cool, popular girl who's going to fall for the nerdy guy in Transformers because he protects her and makes her feel safe. Guys love them. They are so hot. They're so beautiful. Every woman needs to be this girl. But as these women advance in their careers and they attain more powers, they make more brand deals, they're making a lot of money, and they are able to leverage their attractiveness into lucrative contract deals. And, they have demands for how they're going to be portrayed, which is normal in the industry. All of a sudden, they become public enemy number one to men, because men want you to feel obligated to look like Margot Robbie, Olivia Wilde, Megan Fox, Scarlett Johansson, but they don't want you to think you're going to get anything in return for it. And that's why they have to tear you down. You want to enjoy seeing her in the role, but it's only okay for a woman to be sexualized for your enjoyment. She shouldn't actually get to make money, especially not more money off of it. She can't make a business deal. See, if you can leverage your attractiveness and you get to get paid for it, men can no longer weaponize it against you. And they don't like that. Another thing I've noticed is that when you are earlier in your career, like with Margot Robbie and The Wolf of Wall Street, you'll get a lot of stories like this planted about you. I don't know if she was or wasn't insecure about her body, but I noticed that men feed off of these kinds of stories. They love to hear about a beautiful woman who's got crippling insecurity. And if you look at every, actress who's been this major sex symbol, you'll look at early in her career and they talk about, oh my God, I was so nervous about my body. I had an eating disorder. I, hated my body. And I'm not here to say those things are not real. Those things are not to be discussed. But I noticed these stories are out here to make men comfortable, because you know what they hate? When a woman who's beautiful knows that she's beautiful. When a woman who is beautiful and makes money off of being beautiful says, yeah, I know I'm gorgeous because I work hard at it, they hate that. They really want you insecure and vulnerable, because these men want to feel like they have a shot with you when there's no way in hell.
So I completely agree with this TikTok that for misogynistic men, when women step into their own power, they cease to be attractive. It becomes a turnoff. They think that a woman is only attractive when she's vulnerable, usually by a conglomeration of young age, low social capital, objectification in her roles, not being taken seriously for whatever talent she's bringing to a situation. Once a woman is actually rich, successful, acknowledged for her talent, they act like she's lost her beauty because she's no longer an objectified, dehumanized role. She's now an actual human being, and they don't want that. They want an AI bot. I also think part of the reason why people are trying to tear down her look so much is because there are so many people commenting on her beauty, to the point where even in Barbie the movie, they broke the fourth wall to comment on how she's the wrong person to cast for the point that Barbie doesn't look good without makeup or something along those lines. Like, they thought it was so important to comment on her beauty that they even broke the fourth wall in the movie in a way that I didn't really think made sense. Like, it kind of made it feel a little bit like someone was doing a voiceover while editing. Of course, like I keep saying, there is a subjective element to it. And 9 out of 10 people or 99 out of 100 people might say Margot Robbie is the bee's knees, but there will be that one person that just doesn't think she's their cup of tea or just doesn't like her features. When everyone in the world is saying she's so gorgeous, she's so stunning, she's giving women unrealistic beauty standards, there are going to be people who want to point out, well, I don't think she's that attractive because she's only human. And she is. She's actually not a plastic Barbie doll. She is a human being, and she's not unrealistic or a clone or a prototype. She's just a beautiful woman with imperfections like all of us. And here we see the pitfalls of being a very beautiful woman. You can't win no matter what. Some people will think your very existence is oppressive because you're too beautiful, and other people are going to want to knock down your self-esteem because everyone is saying you're beautiful and they want you to think you're not beautiful enough. I've been seeing more and more discourse online in recent years about the fact that yes, while being conventionally attractive has certain benefits, what people call pretty privilege, while that is true, it is sort of like a U-curve, where past a certain point of beauty, it ceases to be adaptive, it ceases to bring you privilege. And this is because attractive women are seen as threats to women who feel insecure about their looks, because misogynistic men will only see them as objects, and because their value becomes very intrinsically linked to their looks and to a beauty that is fleeting because of the way we conceptualize beauty as equated to youth. And therefore it becomes completely guaranteed that the thing bringing you your value is going to flee from your fingertips, which is terrifying and destabilizing as you age. And I've spoken about the research on this topic in the past. I talked to you guys about like the actual studies and what they say and how past a certain point or in certain contexts it's not pretty privilege at all, it's actually a detractor. And let's just say you guys did not like what I had to say about it. There were comments saying within like the first 2 minutes where it was clear they didn't even watch the video, I don't care what the research has to say, I know this is true. There were even people saying that I was trying to subliminally manipulate people by dressing cute in the video. And I think it's so interesting that when a man posts about these things, he's praised for it. But when I did it, I was torn to shreds in the comment section. So what is my point in this video? My point is not poor Margot Robbie. As far as I can tell from the outside looking in, she's beautiful, rich, famous, successful, she has powerful friends, lots of resources, all the more power to her. My point is not that she's some kind of victim. It's that we need to be more critical about the way we think about pretty privilege and the way we talk about people's looks. We need to stop being such assholes, whether it's insinuating that beautiful people shouldn't ever be cast as leading roles, reducing them to their appearance, or trying to take them down a peg because of our own personal insecurities. What do you think about this topic? What did you think of Barbie the movie? And please let me know, how do I sleep on my hair? Because I don't know what to do about this. See you soon. Bye.